Before revisiting Shadows of Evil, I was extremely looking forward to playing it again, but after having spent some time with it, I have to say, I did not enjoy it as much as I thought I would. This always happens to me before making a video about a video game. I always dread certain things, certain components, while looking forward to other aspects of this creative process. However, this experience was the antithesis of everything I've come to expect from zombies and creating a map review. Let's discuss. Although I have alluded to my recent playthrough of this map to be more negative than I anticipated, I am going to say a lot of great things about it, because the map is great. So don't worry, I'm gonna be nice, okay? And we will get into why I didn't really enjoy playing it later on in the video, so stick around. Also, why not give the video a like and subscribe if you're into it? Here on the channel, we like to cover a variety of pop culture topics, from video games such as Call of Duty, all the way to political mishaps like Scrabble banning language. Alright, let's get into it. Shadows was the first zombie map I had played since Doris in World at War. 5 years had passed since I had even played zombies in general, and finally, after all these years, I loaded Black Ops 3 into my PlayStation, spawned into Morgue City, and that was it for me. I was hooked. The most exciting aspect was becoming current with all the new gameplay mechanics Treyarch implemented into zombies over the last 2 games since World at War, all while learning the new mechanics that Black Ops 3 was throwing into the mix. The ceiling was so high, I never thought that I would ever reach a tipping point. Shadows of Evil introduced so many amazing things, so many amazing mechanics that helped define Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4's entire zombie catalog. The introduction of specialist weapons, more in-depth Easter egg quests, weapon upgrade quests, furthering the storyline and narrative elements with the characters, and most importantly, the sort of first boss fight. Now, you can argue that Shadows stole things from Mob of the Dead, and that Pack-a-Punch is so complicated, and even that zombies as a mode was straying away from its true formula. And all of that may be true, and all of that is subjective, but for the ideas that Treyarch were attempting to execute, this map set up the future of zombies perfectly. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is something you cannot take away from it. The layout of Shadows is exceedingly spectacular. The map size is somewhere in between medium and large. It's not as big as Blood of the Dead, but it's not as small as, let's say, Ascension. It's somewhere in between. Treyarch spaced the sections of Morgue City in such a way, making the map feel bigger than it really is. And once you complete the rituals, more playable space opens up. But any map can be large, and any map can be small. It's the use of said space that makes a map special, and that's why this map feels so complete. Every district of the map has tight corridors mixed with open space which flow in and out of one another seamlessly. There is also an excellent form of transportation that makes traversing the map a breeze. The balance of enemy types, the transportation system, and the size of Shadows allows for a unique flow of gameplay. A lot better than any map on Black Ops 3, I would argue. And while most players will take the same routes that they always take, they don't have to. You can change up your gameplay substantially if you so desire. The best example of what I'm talking about takes place in the Footlight District. The area where the perk machine is located is tight and difficult to survive in, but if you do survive, you can buy your perk, find a shield part, open up a teleporter, purchase gobblegum, buy wall weapons, use the traps, and move forward narratively if you're playing the Easter egg. The risk-reward feature is rich in this one tiny space. And once you push through towards the burlesque, the player finds themselves in a large parking lot with space to run and train zombies. Treyarch obviously knows what they're doing, so they positioned the cars in the parking lot in such a way that if you're not too careful, you'll trap yourself. Jason Blundell has always said that if the player loses because of something Treyarch did, then they are not making a good game, or a zombie map rather. But if the player goes down because of something the player did, then that is a success. They want us to be mad at ourselves, not mad at them. And examining the Footlight District highlights just how important the risk, reward, and player knowledge is when putting together a zombie's experience. And when it's done right, the player won't even know, nor should they. This might be one of my favorite wonder weapons of zombies, not so much in Revelations because it's so overpowered in perpetuity with all of the other wonder weapons mixed in. However, it fits perfectly in Shadows of Evil. There are so many enemy types which can offend from a variety of angles, and let's break that down quickly, shall we? Zombies, pests, meatballs, margwas, and the occasional apothecon, all with their own modes of attack. Combined with the map design, you can trap yourself serendipitously if you are not careful. This makes the Apothecon Servant really the perfect weapon for Shadows of Evil. While the weapon is extremely overpowered on its own, Treyarch decided to give you truly little ammo, making your invincibility vastly understated. Also, only one player per game can use it. Treyarch did not stop with the Apothecon Servant, however, and there are a slew of weapons on Shadows that are both fun and beneficial. Little Arnie's, the Sword Specialist, and the Double Pap abilities all come into play. The gameplay loops on Shadows are so satisfying because of the map's personification. Both the map and the enemies are constantly working together to bring you down, and the player's offensive abilities along with Gobblegum are designed perfectly to be used together. How do I mean exactly? Having little Apothecon Servant ammo means you need to play smart, only utilizing the weapon when absolutely necessary. Little Arnie's are the new Monkey Bomb, however, Margwas can destroy them quickly, making them very useless, very fast. The Sword Specialist is the unsung hero of the map in my opinion, as it can attack enemies on its own while you are running around like a madman. Combine all these methods with your double papped gun, i.e. Deadwire, Turn, Thunderwall, or Blast Furnace, and you are a zombie killing machine. Oh, and how could I forget? There is a Civil Protector you can call for backup if shit gets wild. Or if you're just on that damn flag step, fucking hate that step. You cannot use one weapon alone. Each of them has a fatal flaw that can be carried by another. It's honestly brilliant how Treyarch catered to so many aspects of this map that I truly believe are overlooked or perhaps just taken for granted. Besides needing 4 players to acquire the ending cutscene, the Easter egg in this map is best completed with 4 players. It just flows best that way. Granted, the Easter egg quest still plays great, even with 1 player. Yes, the Easter egg is relatively short, and looking back on it, it needed to be. This was the beginning of a zombie era, and players had no idea what the hell was going on. They just knew that shit was getting real, and they had a hell of a DLC season ahead of them. Treyarch intertwined player ascension, weapon upgrades, enemy balance, map design, and quest steps in a way that we had never seen before, and it was all leading up to an ultimate climax that became known as the Shadow Man boss fight. The Shadow Man boss fight at its debut was exhilarating. Finally, Zombies players had a climactic endgame to strive for. No more was it just about completing a few steps and getting perks as rewards or high round attempts only anymore. We had a bigger enemy to tackle, and looking back, I think it's safe to say that Der Eisendracht was technically the first boss fight of COD Zombies, but the Shadow Man gave us a glimpse of what the future may look like from that point on. I've been sitting here talking to a microphone for the last few minutes, giving this map a glowing review. In fact, I'd say it's one of the most impactful Zombies maps of all time, and that's a huge statement to make. But I don't think it's the best map of all time, nor do I want to play it very often. Why do you ask? Because of every single word I have said in this entire review. While Treyarch did a near perfect job of balancing this map, the direction they took with said balancing puts this map in a box. The player expects and anticipates the same actions every single time they play through it. It doesn't matter if you're doing the Easter egg quest or high rounds or something in between. It doesn't matter if you're a new player or an old player or playing the map 5 years later. There is not a lot of depth to the map other than the main path Treyarch had established. Is that a problem? Well, yes, but also no. When this map launched, Treyarch knew that their design would be radical to Zombies fans, and if they pushed any further, they would likely alienate fans from the game mode entirely. And on the other hand, if you design a game, or a Zombies map in this case, to be utilized the same way repeatedly, it will become stale. The expectation becomes sullied because the player knows what will happen every single time. But even after saying that, there's still nothing that can take away the purity and innovative genius that Treyarch brought to Shadows, and brought to Zombies in general. It is a masterpiece in that sense. Treyarch and the developers should be extremely proud of what they created, along with how the map has aged with this community. you. I know a lot of on-disc maps are usually the best for developers compared to their DLC, but Treyarch knocked it out of the park with Shadows and then some. The entire 2015-2016 season was a success. I did groan a bit about this map having no real element of surprise left, but I can say that about Zombies as a whole at this point. I can't even play the mode the same way I used to be able to just a few years ago. I hope when Black Ops 5 comes along, Treyarch blows our minds with the launch map, if only to prove that innovation is a Treyarch staple, not just something they claim. Thank you so much for watching this video. What map would you like to see next? I know I have a list of them that are coming very shortly. Well, I say that, we'll see what happens. But until then, I will see you in the next one.